Thank you for staying. Let's get into our first story now. And government says it is considering further expenditure cuts following an IMF spring meeting. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says Ghana has been assured of a $250 million support from the World Bank, in addition to an expectation of receiving a major boost in its quest to secure an IMF program later this week. Mr. Ofori-Atta has been speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C.
I think, first of all, a response to the 250 million, we are establishing a stability fund to ensure that we can intervene in the event of any solvency and liquidity issues. The World Bank has committed to $250 million of that, and we are still talking with a number of donor partners, including the Africa Development Bank, for further resources. Government itself will put some money into that. We expect really latest by the third quarter for at least the World Bank resources to come through, working to accelerate Africa Development Bank and government itself's participation in that. So that's on the issue of the $250 million. In terms of the week, I think George will be able to testify himself. It's been a very positive week for Ghana. The fund is very comfortable with where we are. We are all looking in the next few weeks for the Paris Club to come in with their financing assurances. Pretty confident that everybody will come through. And the managing director of the IMF has committed that as soon as the assurances are in, they'll set up the board meeting, and we expect to get a quick approval from then on. So on the fund side, I think it's been a very good week. But beyond that was also the beginning of discussions with the Eurobond investors. We did an investor presentation and then met with their committee, and those gone well. I think we are setting up the rubrics of the discussions. There's some more information to be given to them by the IMF and the World Bank. And once that's done, I guess we will then begin negotiations on that.
Now, former President John Dramani Mahama is asking delegates of the National Democratic Congress to select the best candidates for the parliamentary elections and unite for the general election in 2024. He says he is sure to lead the NDC into the 2024 election, but how the party handles the aftermath of the May 13 primaries is paramount to winning the general elections. Mr. Mahama was addressing branch and constituency executives in the Akan constituency of the Oti region, and correspondent Peter Senu now reports.
The two-day tour of the region began at Likpe Mate in the yet-to-be-created constituency in the Gwan district. The tour took the former president to Buem, Biakuye, Krachi East and West constituencies for day one. Day two of the tour took the former president to Krachi Nchumuru, Nkwantan North and South, and finally, the Akan constituency. His message to the delegates is to give him the maximum approval on May 13, where delegates elect parliamentary candidates and a flag bearer for the 2024 general and parliamentary elections.
KJB constituency Mundi Mihuamboda 2019 Mebaha and Amusha Mebo was the President Mahama. Yabama won more than 90% of the vote. And Panso Bosha Amusha no. Mudi so pepe. Enti me ba ya chairman ejina manamu. Aka say 1.something% a yira ya no. Ma ko hwehwe no mohu. Enti mo de beka ho. Enti mo de ka ho a. Ebe 99.99999%.
He has also called for unity in the party regardless of whoever wins the mandate of the delegates on May 13.
Yanya young town for Nipa or your opponent any MPP for. Enti ye yisa nipa na yenina enta nipa nechi. Every say senya ye boboasa nipa no. Ama ne timi edi nkunim no. Saa na eduru yan so so a nipa nyinaa bɛtaa yɛkyi na ɔmo aboa yɛn.
His message to the delegate was not without a swipe at the ruling NPP.
Ɛnyɛ Ghana yɛ NDC hwɛ so no a yɛde ma Nana Akufo-Addo no ɛnyɛ saa Ghana ni nie. Abra yɛ NDC wa be mu a yɛhwɛ Ghana so na yɛ ho tɔ yɛn. Menka sɛ na bibia yɛ nso na yɛ ho tɔ yɛn.
He has accused them for excessive borrowing without any valuables to show for it.
Nso ɔmo kɔ ɔmo ba yɛ ɔmo borrow more than 470 billion cedis. Na obusa sɛ saa sika nyinaa ɛdɛn na mo de yɛ. Ɔmo tɔ nkyerɛ o. Empotro bi ani baby a ɔmo betimi akyerɛ o.
In the Akan constituency, 2 interested persons are contesting the incumbent, Engineer Yao Gomado. May 13 will decide. Peter Sanu for Joy News.
Let's talk road safety now. And residents along the Awoshi-Ablekuma Highway are worried about frequent pedestrian knockdowns in the area due to a dysfunctional traffic light on that stretch. They say the situation has persisted for the past 4 years, exposing them to danger. They want the authorities to intervene to save lives, and some of them have been speaking to Samuel Mbura.
It's over 4 years or 3 years now. This traffic light is not causing, and it's causing accidents. It's causing accidents. A lot of people have got problem because of this traffic light. If there was a way that it can be solved so that the light will work, I'll be happy.
You said for the past 4 years, this traffic light has not been working.
It has not worked for past 4 years.
Is it that it comes off and on at a point, or it doesn't work at all?
It doesn't work at all.
When you talk about it, there is a problem on it because it's not working for past at least market side about 2 years ago. There's some incidents happened on Banyard Mangwasi. Was a car accident or somebody, and then for that on there's no working on traffic lights. When you check about the Banyard tree, it's not working by now. So as for traffic light for now, there I'll talk about that one.
What?
Yeah, person pay for I say obey share na why ni ya man. Because so any year my be boy ye nyina.
So far I check pa. Sometimes a woman eba.
The traffic lights have been dysfunctional for a very long time, and it is exposing us to danger on this road. Even the street lights are not also working. The situation has contributed to many crashes on this road. It is really worrying. I can't even count the number of times, but we witness serious accidents here every 3 days. People die, others get injured as a result.
Now, in our next story, more than 10,000 children parade the streets of Kumasi without decent shelter and guidance, according to the Youth Development Council. Despite the dangers associated with street life, the phenomenon of children of school-going age wandering the streets continues to increase at a fast rate. Love FM's Clinton Yabua now reports.
Mercy, her real name, fled from her home in Garu in the Upper East region to Pampasuk in Kumasi. Her educational needs were shattered because of her detached parents' inability to afford her education, influencing her decision to flee home. Mercy spent most part of her day working at an eatery. She lives on 12 cedis a day to fend for herself, whilst spending her night in front of a kiosk.
So when I completed school, I didn't have any supporter to help me to continue my education. I decided to travel to Kumasi here so that I can join my friends on the street to do business to earn a living. I didn't have any place to sleep, so I decided to look for one-man shop so that I can sleep on the veranda.
Moving through Kumasi, it is impossible not to notice the growing number of young people roaming the streets. The life of homelessness and unmonitored children on the street is termed streetism. Like in the case of Mercy, many children aged below 18 years are compelled to be on the streets due to difficult social economic circumstances some families are experiencing. The situation is fueled by migration to seek greener pastures in the cities, peer influences, and attempts to flee unjust social practices. Most street children, whether in the cold night or under the scorching sun during the day, engage in menial income generation ventures to survive. Some of them end up as head porters, often referred to as kayaye, and others as dishwashers, street hawkers, while some engage in petty thievery. To survive on the street, they are exposed to the risk of assault and other life dangers. Mercy tells Love News she lived in fear of being assaulted sleeping in open spaces on the streets of Pampaso at night.
There are some boys who always roam around. So the dangers of being on the street is that I was afraid maybe one day I'll be raped by those boys who will be roaming around the place.
In commemoration of International Day for Street Children, Save Child Advocacy held a public campaign in Kumasi to create awareness and attention to the menace. Human Resource Officer Akwesi Prempe said collective interventions are critical to the fight against the menace.
NGOs working with children in street situation within Kumasi, that is Save Child Advocacy, Muslim Family Counseling Services, and Chance for Children, came together and then we did a research. And we counted 7,000 children in street situation. Unless we all come together and join our efforts together to help, if not to eradicate, maybe mitigate the rate at which child streetism is getting out of hands or increasing.
Kumasi Metro Director for Social Welfare and Community Development, Esther Aprekunyako, cautioned individuals and institutions against parading children on the streets to beg for alms and engage in commercial activities.
They have potentials and they have talents. Children will be our future leaders. And so, to the general public, those who really use children as hawkers, the agents who brings children for begging so that they will enrich themselves out of that, to desist from that act. Because if you are caught by the law, you'll be found culpable.
The day was observed on the theme, Safety for Street Children, highlighting the lives of children on the streets as valuable. Save Child Advocacy is an initiative of the Catholic Archdiocese of Kumasi to address the problems of young vulnerable children who are displaced and homeless in Kumasi City. Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yeboah.
Let's talk education now, and pupils of the new Amakum MAJHS in Kumasi can now learn under conducive situations with a shelter and the renovation of a 10-unit classroom block by a private company. After studying in the dilapidated school structure for several years, a touchy group of companies intervened to put the item in shape to support the school's growing population. The renovated 10-unit classroom block is set to accommodate over 500 students within the community and its environs. There's more on this in this report.
School had to be suspended anytime it rained due to the weak structure of the new Amakum MAJHS.
The roofing, everything was bad. When it rains, the children have to put some boards in front of the chalkboard just to wait for the dripping to stop before we can continue.
So as a homecoming committee, we decided to look at various thematic fields, starting with education, to help develop the school so that it will have a conducive environment for the kids to have, that study environment to learn very well.
As an intervention, a touchy group of companies renovated the 10-unit classroom block for the Amakum community. CEO Kobna Echampong says it was important to aid the community to save the students from the danger posed by the old structure.
As a building and civil engineering firm that rallies on our quality of engineers, quant surveyors, and other technicians in delivering above standard projects across the country, we do not take quality of education for granted. With this in mind, we took that decision to make this investment in education within this community. We have made several upgrades, including steel barriers for the safety of our pupils, re-roof the entire building, wiring of the building, fixing of doors and windows, fixing of ceiling, screening of the floor, and painting works, among others, at the total cost of 474,799.52 pesos Ghana cedi.
Headmistress of the school, Madam Eleno Bosi Dakom, says the new school block comes to ease the burden on school authorities.
We are very, 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 very happy that now we can boast of a fine school, and now we can rise up early in the morning to come and teach.
Amekomhini Nana Edu Mensam, who was overwhelmed by the gesture, touted his desire to promote education in the community.
We want to make this place a center of education in Kumasi. Enti etotu yeni ape aboafo a ombeso yemu yepese yesi library kese pa ewo baabi a yewe na ICT center no so yehwe se ebeye ni yi epese afi we say resource beba no na ye one among the best.
The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah entreated school authorities to ensure good maintenance culture.
We don't want to come back here maybe after a year or two, then we see this building back dilapidated. That one, it will not encourage other people even to emulate the good example that Mr. Akakpo has set.
For Joy News, Nana Boachi Dankwa Yadom, Kumasi.
Well, it's a wrap for the news, but stay with us. Energy analyst Kojo Poku joins us shortly for the news review.